Chosen one, what you are about to hear may challenge how you see yourself and how others see you. When people call you the last god, it is not because you are above humanity, but because your way of thinking, questioning, and living does not fit comfortably inside ordinary expectations. You confuse humans because you refuse to live unconsciously, because you seek truth over comfort, purpose over approval, and integrity over illusion. The question, human or God, is not asking you to abandon your humanity, but to reflect on your awareness and responsibility within it. Throughout history, those who awakened early, challenged systems, and lived by higher values were misunderstood, elevated, or even feared. This message is a call from God's community not to inflate the ego, but to ground yourself deeper in humility, service, and ethical action. True awakening is not about power over others, but clarity within yourself. You are human, fully human, yet capable of extraordinary awareness. And that awareness is meant to be used to learn, to serve, and to lead with truth, not to escape humanity, but to honor it. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11, sending a signal that you are ready to align with this message and amplify its energy. Understanding this message is essential because it shines a light on individuals who think beyond the ordinary, challenge societal norms, and strive to live with purpose. Throughout history, visionaries, thinkers, and truth seekers have been misunderstood, doubted, or even feared because their perspectives clashed with conventional thought. Recognizing their journey encourages us to value insight, question our assumptions, and embrace personal growth without judgment. This message reminds us that awakening is not about supremacy. It is about responsibility, self-awareness, and using knowledge to make meaningful impact. I believe this message is deeply inspiring and transformative. It reframes extraordinary potential not as a pedestal to be envied, but as a path of service, humility, and ethical leadership. By emphasizing awareness grounded in humanity, it encourages each of us to explore our own strengths, reflect deeply, and act with integrity. True power is not in being feared or idolized. It is in understanding oneself, uplifting others, and making conscious choices that benefit the world around us. The term chosen one carries more than myth or fantasy. It represents individuals who step forward with courage, question the status quo, and embrace responsibility beyond ordinary expectations. Symbolically, it reminds us that leadership, insight, and purpose are not merely inherited. They are cultivated through persistence, awareness, and conscious effort. Those who carry this metaphor often face inner and outer struggles, as the world is quick to resist ideas that disrupt comfort zones. In human history, many chosen ones have been artists, scientists, or social reformers whose visions reshaped society. Galileo, for instance, challenged centuries of established belief with courage, facing ridicule and imprisonment for revealing truths that eventually transformed our understanding of the cosmos. The symbolic meaning lies not in their recognition, but in their willingness to endure opposition for a greater purpose. Being a chosen one also involves self-mastery. It demands the ability to rise above ego, cultivate empathy, and navigate life with awareness. It's a call to embody both strength and vulnerability. Understanding that greatness is measured not in power over others, but in the positive impact one leaves behind. This metaphor inspires reflection on how we can cultivate courage, wisdom, and integrity in our own lives. Every person has the potential to embody aspects of the chosen one, even in small acts of kindness, truth-telling, or leadership. It teaches that extraordinary qualities are not reserved for the few. They manifest through conscious choices, ethical action, and the courage to pursue truth. This symbolism is less about destiny and more about deliberate cultivation of awareness and purpose. Ultimately, the chosen one metaphor reminds us to embrace our unique calling while remaining humble. It calls for understanding the responsibility that comes with insight and acting with compassion, intelligence, and ethical intent rather than seeking admiration or power. It is an eternal invitation to grow, serve, and inspire. Deep thinkers often perceive the world differently. They analyze, question, and challenge ideas that most accept without scrutiny. Their unconventional perspectives can appear threatening or alien to others, causing confusion, skepticism, or even hostility. When someone consistently thinks beyond conventional boundaries, society may misinterpret their intentions or label them as different, creating distance between the thinker and the world. Misunderstanding is not necessarily a reflection of failure, but a mark of vision. Deep thinkers also carry the weight of awareness, which can be emotionally taxing. They see patterns, contradictions, and injustices that others ignore, making their experiences more intense and their path lonelier. This awareness requires resilience, patience, and the ability to communicate insights without alienating others, a delicate balance between expression and empathy. The value of a deep thinker lies not in conformity, but in the courage to challenge norms and expand understanding. Their perspectives often become catalysts for innovation, ethical reform, or spiritual growth, reminding society that discomfort is often the first step toward progress. Misunderstanding is a temporary barrier to transformation, not a permanent obstacle. Recognizing this dynamic helps us cultivate empathy, both toward thinkers and within ourselves. It encourages us to question assumptions, value diverse perspectives, and understand that not every revolutionary idea is immediately accepted. Misunderstanding is often the price of awakening, and embracing it with patience can transform both the thinker and those around them. Awareness often manifests in ways that can be misinterpreted as power. Individuals with heightened consciousness may make decisions with clarity, act decisively, and radiate confidence that others might perceive as dominance or superiority. This is not an expression of control, but a reflection of deep understanding, self-mastery, and the ability to see beyond immediate appearances. History offers examples of awareness being mistaken for power. Thinkers, leaders, and spiritual guides are frequently elevated to divine status simply because their insight surpasses that of the general population. Buddha, for instance, was revered for his profound awareness, though his teachings emphasize humility, compassion, and service. True awareness empowers internally, but is grounded in ethical responsibility rather than ego-driven influence. Emotional intelligence also plays a role in this misperception. A person who perceives motives, patterns, and outcomes with clarity can appear almost omniscient to those less aware. This can create fear, envy, or misunderstanding, even when the individual's goal is constructive. Awareness requires patience and discernment to ensure knowledge is applied wisely and not confused with control. Awareness transforms life fundamentally. It allows one to navigate challenges with calm, make ethical decisions, and respond to conflict with insight. This silent strength can inspire admiration, but it can also provoke resistance from those uncomfortable with self-reflection or change. Awareness is power only when it is responsibly channeled. Otherwise, it may be misinterpreted or misused. Ultimately, recognizing that awareness is distinct from dominance helps society respect thoughtful insight without fear or envy. It emphasizes that genuine power comes from understanding, ethical action, and compassionate influence, rather than from asserting authority or forcing compliance. Awareness invites reflection, not obedience. The idea of the last God is not literal. It's a symbolic reflection of humanity's fascination with ultimate knowledge, extraordinary insight, and supreme moral clarity. It represents a person whose awareness transcends ordinary understanding. Yet the myth warns against deifying such individuals. History shows that societies often elevate exceptional thinkers or leaders to almost divine status, forgetting that they are human, vulnerable, and fallible. The last God is a metaphor for the inner potential each person carries. It challenges us to explore the limits of our consciousness and moral responsibility while reminding us that ultimate power is never external. It resides in the ability to understand, reflect, and act ethically. This concept inspires awe, but it also serves as a caution. Elevating humans to untouchable status risks misunderstanding, exploitation, or disillusionment. Throughout history, figures perceived as transcendent have faced both reverence and fear. Joan of Arc, Nikola Tesla, and other visionaries were considered extraordinary because their ideas challenged contemporary understanding. Yet their achievements were inseparable from human struggles, perseverance, and resilience. The myth lies in imagining perfection, while the truth emphasizes growth, learning, and ethical living. The lesson of the last God is also internal. It challenges us to cultivate our own awareness and moral compass without seeking external validation. Each act of conscious decision-making, empathy, and service strengthens the divinity within, bridging the gap between potential and actualized influence. The metaphor teaches that true greatness is not in omnipotence, but in responsible, grounded wisdom. It reminds us that while extraordinary insight is admirable, our true duty is to live consciously, ethically, and compassionately. The myth inspires striving for excellence, but it also reinforces the importance of humility, balance, and the understanding that human potential is powerful, yet inherently human. Society loves to categorize, label, and simplify human identity, but the essence of human potential cannot be confined to titles, roles, or expectations. Each individual carries a unique combination of intelligence, creativity, and emotional depth that defies simple definition. Recognizing this allows people to break free from societal limitations and embrace their own multidimensional abilities. Labels can both guide and restrict. While they help communicate roles or achievements, they can create artificial boundaries. A scientist may be admired for intellect, but dismissed for lacking social skills. A spiritual teacher may be revered for insight, yet questioned for worldly practicality. Human potential cannot be fully captured by a single title, and acknowledging this complexity encourages broader thinking and personal growth. History is full of examples of individuals who defied labels. Leonardo da Vinci was simultaneously an artist, engineer, scientist, and philosopher. His life reminds us that human potential thrives when curiosity, courage, and creativity intersect without rigid boundaries. We all possess similar capacities, but society's labels can limit expression if we allow them to dictate identity. Human potential extends beyond career, status, or external recognition. It includes emotional intelligence, moral courage, creativity, and the ability to connect deeply with others. Understanding this helps us pursue holistic development, intellectual, spiritual, and emotional, rather than simply chasing accolades. Every small act of insight, kindness, or innovation contributes to this boundless potential. Ultimately, realizing human potential requires shedding self-imposed and societal limitations. It means valuing growth over comparison, embracing curiosity over conformity, and honoring individuality without fear of judgment. Human potential is infinite when nurtured with awareness, purpose, and ethical action. Human history is filled with cases where extraordinary insight was mistaken for divine authority. Wisdom, when expressed with clarity, empathy, and vision, can appear godlike to those who have not yet experienced such depth. This confusion often elevates leaders, thinkers, or spiritual guides beyond their humanity, creating unrealistic expectations and dependency. Ancient cultures frequently deified philosophers, kings, or shamans because their wisdom transcended ordinary understanding. While reverence is natural, it can distort perception and foster idolization. Confusing wisdom with divinity risks ignoring the human responsibilities, errors, and limitations that come with knowledge. The lesson here is that reverence should inspire learning, not blind obedience. Modern society still exhibits this pattern. Celebrities, influencers, and thought leaders are often perceived as flawless, when in reality, their insight is partial and shaped by personal experience. True wisdom is about discernment, humility, and ethical application, not the elevation of status or unchecked authority. Recognizing this distinction fosters critical thinking and balance. Wisdom, unlike divinity, is accessible to everyone willing to observe, reflect, and learn. It thrives through questions, dialogue, and practical application rather than myth or perfection. The more we understand that wisdom is human, the more responsibly we can apply it to our own lives and communities. By distinguishing wisdom from divinity, we empower both ourselves and others. We can admire, learn, and be inspired without losing perspective or projecting unattainable ideals onto others. Wisdom becomes a shared journey of growth, not a pedestal of idolization. Ancient wisdom has shaped civilizations, offering timeless lessons about morality, consciousness, and ethical living. From Confucian philosophy to indigenous traditions, these teachings provide guidance for navigating life, but they are not meant to be used as a source of power or dominance. They are tools for reflection, not symbols of superiority. Many people mistakenly treat ancient knowledge as untouchable authority, creating rigid interpretations that stifle creativity or personal growth. While it is essential to respect history, the true value of these teachings lies in applying them to contemporary challenges with critical thinking and context. Ancient guidance is alive only when interpreted consciously, not worshipped blindly. The spiritual practices, moral frameworks, and philosophical ideas of the past were often designed to cultivate awareness, empathy, and personal responsibility. They were tools for self-improvement and societal harmony, not mechanisms for status or control. Examples abound in history where rigid adherence to ancient teachings caused conflict rather than enlightenment. Societies that misused philosophy or religion to consolidate power often lost sight of the human-centered purpose of these systems. Real wisdom lies in extracting principles that enhance life, rather than elevating oneself above others. Ultimately, ancient teachings are invitations, not thrones. They encourage reflection, inspire conscious action, and remind us that ethical living, mindfulness, and service are timeless. By approaching them with humility and discernment, we honor their true purpose while nurturing our own growth. Insight is a gift, but it is also a profound responsibility. Those who see clearly, whether in understanding human nature, moral dilemmas, or societal patterns, are called to act thoughtfully. Knowledge without responsibility can harm as much as ignorance. The more aware we are, the greater the ethical burden to make decisions that benefit others rather than simply ourselves. Throughout history, leaders and visionaries have struggled with this balance. Abraham Lincoln, for example, navigated a nation divided by civil war, armed with deep understanding of justice and humanity. His awareness did not grant him ease or popularity, but it demanded courage and responsibility at every turn. Insight is valuable only when coupled with ethical action. Responsibility also includes self-awareness. Those with heightened understanding must guard against ego, pride, or the temptation to dominate. True insight is not a weapon, it is a tool for service, guidance, and problem-solving. Emotional intelligence is crucial for ensuring that awareness does not alienate, intimidate, or harm others unintentionally. The ethical dimension of insight extends to everyday life. It influences how we communicate, mentor, lead, and make choices. Each decision, no matter how small, carries the potential to shape the lives of others positively or negatively. Insight without responsibility risks isolation, misinterpretation, and the misuse of power. Ultimately, embracing responsibility is what transforms knowledge into wisdom. It allows insight to ripple through society, creating constructive change, fostering empathy, and encouraging collective growth. Awareness without responsibility is incomplete. With responsibility, it becomes transformative. True knowledge often disrupts the familiar. It challenges assumptions, questions traditions, and pushes individuals beyond comfort zones. While this can provoke resistance, it is essential for growth. Comfort may feel safe, but it rarely sparks innovation, self-discovery, or meaningful transformation. Scientific revolutions exemplify this principle. Copernicus's heliocentric model challenged centuries of geocentric belief, sparking disbelief and even hostility. Yet this uncomfortable knowledge expanded human understanding and laid the foundation for modern astronomy. Growth often comes dressed in disruption. On a personal level, confronting uncomfortable truths about ourselves, our choices, or our society requires courage. Emotional resilience is key, as knowledge can provoke doubt, fear, or existential questioning. Yet embracing discomfort enables deeper insight, authenticity, and self-mastery. Challenging comfort also applies to morality and ethics. Recognizing systemic injustice, confronting personal biases, or advocating for unpopular truth demands courage and perseverance. The path of awareness is rarely easy, but it is always transformative for both the individual and the collective. Ultimately, knowledge that disturbs the familiar is a catalyst for evolution. It invites reflection, courage, and action. Growth requires discomfort, and those willing to face it gain clarity, resilience, and the capacity to contribute meaningfully to the world. Spiritual awakening is often portrayed as transcending the human experience. But true growth does not mean detachment from compassion, empathy, or everyday life. Spirituality should enhance humanity, not diminish it. Awakening that sacrifices connection, empathy, or ethical responsibility is incomplete and potentially destructive. History provides examples of spiritual figures who balanced enlightenment with human compassion. Mahatma Gandhi's spiritual philosophy was inseparable from his commitment to justice, service, and humility. His spiritual growth empowered humanity rather than elevating him above it. True spiritual evolution enhances ethical action rather than escaping responsibility. Modern seekers often fall into the trap of isolating themselves from worldly concerns in pursuit of enlightenment. While introspection is vital, disconnection from society risks arrogance, apathy, or spiritual narcissism. True growth finds equilibrium between inner awareness and outer action. Spiritual maturity involves recognizing interdependence. By remaining grounded in humanity, spiritual insight becomes practical, applicable, and transformative, benefiting both the individual and the community. Ultimately, the essence of spiritual growth lies in harmonizing awareness with human connection. It inspires compassionate leadership, ethical decision-making, and purposeful living, demonstrating that awakening is not an escape from life, but a deeper, more responsible engagement with it. True leadership arises from empathy, insight, and understanding rather than coercion, authority, or fear. Leaders who act from understanding inspire loyalty, trust, and cooperation, while those who rely on control generate resistance and superficial compliance. Leadership rooted in awareness transforms organizations, communities, and societies. Historical examples abound. Nelson Mandela led South Africa not through domination, but through reconciliation, understanding, and visionary insight. His leadership demonstrated that power becomes meaningful only when exercised ethically, with empathy and foresight. Control may force obedience, but understanding creates genuine influence. Effective leaders listen deeply, assess situations thoughtfully, and anticipate consequences of actions. They recognize human complexity and navigate challenges with patience and discernment. This approach fosters collaboration, innovation, and sustainable impact, transforming environments rather than imposing rigid structures. Understanding-based leadership also encourages personal growth. Leaders learn humility, emotional intelligence, and adaptability, while followers feel valued, heard, and motivated. This mutual growth strengthens bonds, resilience, and collective potential. Leadership becomes a shared journey rather than a top-down imposition. Ultimately, leadership through understanding emphasizes service over dominance. It inspires action without coercion, cultivates ethical decision-making, and transforms communities through empathy, vision, and conscious guidance. This model demonstrates that influence rooted in awareness is far more powerful than authority rooted in fear. Awakening and ego often masquerade as each other. A person may mistake knowledge, insight, or influence for spiritual or intellectual superiority. When ego infiltrates consciousness, it distorts perception, breeds arrogance, and alienates others, undermining the very growth one seeks to achieve. History illustrates this pitfall. Leaders or spiritual figures who elevate themselves above those they serve often face eventual failure or moral collapse. Ego blinds individuals to responsibility, empathy, and humility, turning awareness into a tool for self-aggrandizement rather than service. True awakening is inseparable from humility and ethical action. The ego thrives on recognition, comparison, and power. Conscious awareness requires vigilance to prevent subtle, self-centered patterns from influencing thoughts or decisions. Practices like reflection, meditation, and ethical scrutiny strengthen discernment and protect against ego-driven illusions. Ego can also manifest as defensive resistance to criticism or discomfort. It seeks validation and fears accountability, while awakening embraces challenges as opportunities for learning. Recognizing the difference between ego and true insight is critical for maintaining clarity, authenticity, and grounded purpose. Ultimately, awareness grounded in humility and empathy strengthens authenticity, connection, and ethical action. True awakening liberates from ego, while ego masquerading as awakening leads to isolation, imbalance, and missed opportunity for meaningful growth. Truth challenges comfort zones, preconceived beliefs, and familiar patterns. It can provoke fear, defensiveness, or denial because it disrupts the illusion of control. This tension is natural. Humans resist change and cling to stability, even when confronted with transformative knowledge. Throughout history, truth-tellers have been perceived as threats. From civil rights activists to whistleblowers, individuals who reveal inconvenient truths often face opposition, ridicule, or persecution. Yet this very resistance highlights the power and necessity of truth. It disrupts stagnation and sparks evolution. Truth is also personal. It forces introspection, accountability, and sometimes painful recognition of mistakes or limitations. Facing these realities requires courage, emotional resilience, and a willingness to grow. Avoiding truth may feel safer, but it limits understanding, progress, and fulfillment. In relationships, communities, and societies, truth promotes trust, authenticity, and ethical living. While it may provoke temporary discomfort, its long-term effects foster clarity, mutual respect, and alignment with higher purpose. Accepting truth transforms fear into empowerment and resistance into insight. Ultimately, embracing truth is an act of courage. Recognizing the limits of what one knows fosters curiosity, openness, and continuous learning. It prevents arrogance, misuse of information, or ethical lapses, ensuring that insight serves constructive purposes rather than personal ego. Practical wisdom bridges intellect with empathy. Decisions informed by understanding, reflection, and ethical awareness create positive ripple effects in relationships, leadership, and societal structures, proving that knowledge alone cannot sustain long-term influence. Ultimately, turning knowledge into wisdom is the highest form of personal development. It transforms intelligence into ethical action, curiosity into insight, and information into a tool for conscious, meaningful impact in the world. Emotional mastery is the ability to recognize, understand, and regulate one's emotions while remaining empathetic to others. It is a cornerstone of personal growth, resilience, and ethical leadership, enabling conscious responses rather than reactive behaviors. History shows that emotional mastery can determine the success of leaders and thinkers. Figures like Nelson Mandela navigated extreme adversity with composure, empathy, and strategic patience, demonstrating how emotional intelligence enhances influence, decision-making, and societal impact. Emotional mastery begins with self-awareness. By identifying triggers, patterns, and biases, individuals gain control over impulses, manage stress, and respond to challenges thoughtfully. This enhances clarity, reduces conflict, and strengthens relationships. Mastery also involves empathy. Understanding the emotional states of others fosters compassion, communication, and ethical decision-making, allowing individuals to lead, collaborate, and inspire effectively. Emotional intelligence connects personal growth with communal well-being. Ultimately, emotional mastery transforms life into a conscious, intentional journey. It empowers individuals to navigate challenges gracefully, cultivate meaningful relationships, and apply knowledge and wisdom in service of higher purpose, rather than being controlled by fear or impulse. As we reflect on the journey through awareness, growth, and purpose, it becomes clear that true strength lies in the balance between knowledge, empathy, and action. Each challenge, each insight, and every conscious choice is a step toward realizing your fullest potential. Remember, awakening is not about being above others. It is about serving, learning, and leading with clarity, humility, and ethical intent. Growth is a lifelong practice. It is cultivated through courage, reflection, and consistent action. Embrace discomfort, question assumptions, and turn knowledge into wisdom. Let your journey be guided by purpose, your actions rooted in integrity, and your heart open to humanity. Transformation begins from within, but its impact reaches far beyond yourself. The path may not always be easy, but it is always worth it. Every act of awareness, every moment of empathy, and every conscious decision ripples outward, shaping not only your life, but the world around you. Hold on to your values, trust your intuition, and step forward with confidence. Humanity needs your insight, courage, and presence now more than ever. I want to leave you with this thought. Your life is your canvas, and your awareness, choices, and actions are the brushstrokes. Choose purpose over recognition, courage over comfort, and service over ego. The journey to understanding yourself and serving others is the most profound adventure you will ever embark upon. Take these lessons, reflections, and insights into your daily life. Lead with empathy, grow with intention, and live with the awareness that your actions matter. Even the smallest conscious choice can spark transformation, both within and around you. Your potential is extraordinary. Embrace it fully and never stop striving to awaken the best in yourself and the world. If this message resonated with you, join our journey of growth, awareness, and purpose. Subscribe to stay inspired, motivated, and equipped with insights that empower both your mind and heart. Be part of a community committed to conscious living, ethical action, and personal evolution. Every moment you invest in learning, reflecting, and growing brings you closer to the person you are meant to be. Subscribe now and continue this journey with us. Remember, transformation begins with awareness, but it flourishes through connection and action. Subscribe today and take your next step toward purposeful living, leadership, and awakening.